So a quick review of what is supported decision making. So the supported decision making, as the American Bar Association defines it, is the decision making model in which an individual makes decisions with the support of trusted individuals. So this can be done informally or formally. Supported decision making as a concept is more of that informal piece where you're just kind of having those conversations with people that you trust to brainstorm and have them help you think of what are your options when it comes to making a certain decision, and what are the pros and cons or possible long-term consequences of each of those options so that you can then make an informed decision. The formal option of supported decision-making is the actual supported decision-making agreement itself. Both the informal and formal options do help individuals with disabilities increase their self-determination. So the supported decision-making agreement is actually formally writing down or documenting who you want to support you, what areas of life you want support in, and how you want to be supported. What does that look like? In Virginia, supported decision-making agreements are made up of at least two people. You have the decision maker, that's the individual with an intellectual or developmental disability. They must be at least 18 years old in Virginia, and at this time, you can't have a legal guardian. You also have the option of a supporter. And the supporter is the person or multiple people that you want to help you. And then we have a third option called the facilitator, the supported decision-making facilitator. And this person just oversees the agreement, makes sure that your supporters are doing what you want them to do. So again, you've got your decision maker. You've got to be 18 years old, have an older, have an intellectual or developmental disability, and be legally able to make your own decisions. Supporters, you can have one or many. It's up to you and up to those who you want to help you. They can be anybody like your family, a teacher, a friend, somebody that you work with. It's really up to you, and as long as that person agrees to support you in the way that you're asking them to. And then your facilitator can be any of those people as well. They might be a supporter, but you might just ask them to fill this role of a facilitator. But again, you don't have to have a facilitator if you don't want one. So now let's go to Sam. So we met Sam in sessions 1 and sessions 2, and we are following Sam throughout this evening and next week. So Sam is 18 years old and he has autism and uses words to communicate. He is in high school and has been learning job skills and about how to be a good employee while in school. Sam is considering graduating so that he can work and focus on his dream of being an actor. Sam lives with his mother, father, and older sister who visits when home from college. Sam wants to live on his own in the nearby city after he graduates because he feels the city is where stars are made. Sam's parents are nervous about Sam living on his own and making his own decisions because they worry he will be taken advantage of by others. Sam has never had to budget his money or pay bills and believes that everyone he meets is his friend. Sam and his family decided to use a supported decision-making agreement to help Sam talk through decisions and the areas of life he needs more support. Sam was able to make his own decisions and keep his rights and independence. Sam and his family understand the benefits of Sam's right to take risks and learn from them, also known as dignity of risk. So we're going to dive into this new discovery tool, the relationship map. And the relationship map helps you look at people in your life in 4 categories: family, friends, people who are in your life and help you at home or other places, and that people who help you at school or at work. The other thing that you do with the relationship map is identify how close do you feel to these individual people. And I will show you on the relationship map how it gets filled out. So this is what the blank relationship map should look like. Hopefully you have either a Word copy of it that you can write on, or a fillable PDF copy. I know that Heidi sent those out to everyone. So we're going to go through this step by step. I will show you Sam's relationship map as well, just to provide a visual example. But first, let's look at how you look at the relationship map and how it gets filled out. So the first thing is, this is your relationship map. So your name goes on that line in the middle circle. You can also put your name up top where you've got the blank that says blank's relationship map. On the fillable PDF, if you type in the center circle or on this line, whatever name you put here will automatically populate on the other line as well. So you only have to fill out one section. The next thing we're going to look at is the circles. So your name is in the center circle because this is your relationship map. Now, there's a circle outside of your circle, and those are, that's where the people that you feel most emotionally close to should go. So we're not going to be asking for closeness in physical closeness or distance, like, you know, people that you live with or people that live next to you. We're not even looking at blood relation and how closely related you are to them. The people that you would put in this inner circle or the circle closest to your name are those that you feel emotionally close to. You might not see them on a regular basis, and that's okay. You might, but you could still have, you know, that very strong connection with them. So the next circle that you get to is going to be where people that you are not as emotionally close to. So maybe it still is people that you would still go to for help sometimes, but you don't feel as connected to them as you do to the people that are closest to your name circle. And then we get kind of this farther out. It's not even necessarily an outer circle. It's kind of just the outer sides of each category, or as far out as the page will go. And that's going to be people that you really don't feel close to. So people that are in your life that might support you in some way, but they are not people that you have that emotional connection to. They're not people that you seek out on your own to get support or help from. For that matter, they could also be people that you don't necessarily want in your life or don't want to have that connection with. So let's look at Sam's. And hopefully you can fill your relationship map out as we go through Sam's. So for Sam, we started with family, which is this top category. So for Sam, his inner circle, the people he feels most emotionally close to are his mom, his dad, and April, who's his sister. As he goes further out, he has his Uncle Bill, his Aunt Sue, his grandma and grandpa, and he doesn't have any family members in the farthest out circle. And that's okay. You might not have people in every category and in every circle. Next, Sam went to people who support me at work or school. So for Sam, in his inner circle, it was Miss Schwartz, his teacher, Miss Jones, his vocational teacher, and Mr. Dunn, his counselor. Sam feels emotionally close to these three people who support him at school. Now, they might not feel that emotionally close to Sam, but this is who Sam identifies as who he feels connected to. He doesn't have anybody else at school listed. He doesn't have anybody in the middle circle or all the way out. I will tell you that Sam does have friends at school. However, it's important when you fill out your relationship map to put only one person in a category. So sometimes we have people that fit multiple categories, but you want to find the category that they best fit in and put them in that category. Otherwise, if you have the same person listed multiple times in different categories, it kind of gives a false sense of who's in your life and who to look to for support. So Sam decided that it's, his friends that are at school, he was going to put only in the friends category, which we'll look at in a second. So people who support me at home and other places. The people that Sam feels closest to are Rachel, his ABA therapist, and Johnny, his theater coach. Sam has been seeing Dr. Taylor, his primary care physician, for his entire life. So he feels like this is somebody that's important in his life that he goes to with some questions, but he's not that emotionally close to them. So that's why Dr. Taylor is on kind of this outer circle right here. Again, Sam doesn't have anybody all the way out. And that's okay. You might have a lot of people out here, but nobody in these inner two circles, and that's all right too. And then finally, we have Sam's friends, who he said that Adam, Kara, Melanie, and Paul are who he feels closest to. So they are in that circle closest to his circle. And then Mike, Kim, David, Mark, and Sarah are in that kind of middle circle. They're not quite as close to him. They're not friends that he goes to for everything. He kind of considers them just social friends. So take a second to get at least a couple people on your relationship map. So the biggest things to remember with your relationship map is, one, the people that you put closest to your inner circle are the people that you feel emotionally closest to. The farther away you put them, the less emotionally close you feel to them. And then the second important thing to remember is that you only want to list a person once. So if they fit in multiple categories, you want to put them in the category you think fits them best. Oh, and this is a great question. There's a question: can any of these people be family members who live in another country? Absolutely. Yes, you can have family members that live in other countries. You can have family members, or not even necessarily family members, people who support you that don't live in the same state or the same town. That is totally fine. I've even seen people put their pets on here because their pets are emotionally close and are an emotional support. That's just fine. My cat's and mine. I'm not necessarily going to ask my cat to be a supporter on my supported decision-making agreement, but it is an important person or important creature in my life, and I want him represented on my relationship map. So that is just fine. There's another question. Who is going to do this activity with Sam? His teacher or family member? So for Sam, he actually had his counselor did this with him, but really anybody can do this with somebody. You don't have to necessarily, it doesn't have to be one designated person. A parent can do it with their child, a teacher, a case manager or support coordinator can do this. Or you might just decide, I'm going to do this on my own. And that's okay. You can do that too. So I want you to think about a couple of things as you look at your relationship map and who you've put on it. So the first thing to think about when thinking about who could be a potential supporter is, what decisions or choices do you need help with or want help with? So last week we did the discovery tool of when do I want support? And if you did that discovery tool, if you filled that out, you could look back at that and see what are the particular decisions that I wanted support with. From there, you would think about question number 2. What skills, information, and knowledge does someone need to have to be able to help you with these things? So, who on your relationship map has the skills, the information, or the knowledge to do what you need to support you with making or with thinking through certain decisions that you want support with? So once you think about those things, you want to look at your relationship map. And so think about, again, who is it that, or what do you want help with? Who has the skills, information, and knowledge, or what skills, information, and knowledge would you need to help you? Then on your relationship, who has those skills, information, and knowledge, and who that you trust has them, because that's important. You want to trust these people and feel comfortable communicating with them. So based on those 3 things, circle or put a star next to the names of those people that meet those 3 criteria. So based on what you want help with and the skills that somebody needs to be able to support you or help you, the people that I'm starring or circling are the people that have the skills and ability to help me. So for Sam, he decided that April, Dad, Mom, Rachel, his ABA therapist, Johnny, his theater coach, and Adam, his friend, all have the skills he needs to help him in certain parts of his life that he wants help. They are all also people that Sam can get in touch with. So take a second to think about that and star or circle. I can go back. There's no limit on the number of people that you think you might want to talk to as far as being a supporter. Sometimes people will just have one person for right now, and that's okay. And sometimes people have multiple people. Also, the things that you want help with might require different people to support you. You know, the people that I would go to for help with medical decisions are going to be different than the people that I would go to for help with decisions about work or school. So again, Sam selected his mom, his dad, his sister, his friend, his ABA therapist, and his theater coach. Now, at the time of doing the relationship map, he had not asked anybody yet if they would be a supporter. So this was just him making his list of who he wants to ask, not that they have already agreed. So when it comes to selecting supporters, you want to think about some things before you say, yes, this is a person I want to ask. So think about, what do you want this person to help you with? Like I said, sometimes people will help with only one part of your life, like just healthcare decisions or just decisions about school. You also want to think about, how do you want this person to help you? So sometimes people help us in different ways depending on who the person is or the life area or decision at hand. So think about, what would that person do to help you? And how often do you think you might want them to help you? Is this something that you really only need their support once a year or once a month? Or is it something that maybe you need their support once a week or more often? It would be helpful to let them know this when you're having that conversation, to ask them about being a supporter. And the when do I want support and what kind of support do I want discovery tools can help with answering some of these questions. Those are the 2 discovery tools that we did in sessions 1 and 2. So once you've kind of thought about this information, the next thing you'll need to do is ask them if they'll be a supporter. So what can you do to ask? You can either write a letter or write an email, or you can talk to the person in person or on the phone. But they might have some questions, so it's good to kind of have this information already written out or thought through in your head so that you know how to answer. So here are just some talking points or things that you might want to already tell the person that you're asking to be your supporter up front. So you might want to tell them, what is a supported decision-making agreement? What does a supporter do? Or what do you want the supporter to do? What do you want or need them to help you with? How do you want them to help you? Is it just talking through a certain decision? Is it coming to meetings with you? Is it researching information with you? So think about that kind of thing. How often do you want to meet with or talk with them to get help? Which might depend on what it is that you're asking them to help you with. And then invite them to help you fill out your supported decision-making agreement and sign the agreements page if they agree to be a supporter. We do have some helpful tools online, which you can always give to anybody that you're asking to be a supporter. We have a frequently asked questions document on the DBHDS website, as well as a bunch of other tools and training information that they might find helpful. And we also think that it's helpful to give them a copy of your "what kind of support do I want" tool. This lets people know how you like to be helped. You know, what works for you, because the ways that you like to be helped or supported are different than how everybody else likes to be helped or supported. And then I put together just kind of a draft or a template of a letter that you could always use if you wanted to. You can use this as either a letter, an email. You could even use this just as as kind of a guide when you're talking to somebody and asking them to be a supporter. So it's "Dear," and then you would put in the name of whoever you're asking to be a supporter. "I am making my supported decision-making agreement, and I would like you to be one of my supporters." A supported decision-making agreement is a document that I write that says who I want to help me and what areas of life I want help and how I want to be a help. It is a way for me to get help with making choices or decisions, but I keep all of my rights and I make the final decision. Supporters agree to help me how I like to be helped, but do not make decisions for me. Supporters can decide not to be a supporter at any time and do not get in trouble for the choices I make. Then you can include this information. I would like help in these life areas. And you can list the life areas that are on the when do I want support tool that you have said you wanted help in. Then you could say, I would like you to help me with these things. So what specific decisions or choices did you check on the when do I want support tool that you want this person to help you with? Because again, not all of your supporters will necessarily help you with everything on your supported decision-making agreement. And then finally, I like for people to help me by doing these things. So this is where you could then list out or give them the what kind of support do I want tool so that they have a better understanding of how you like people to help you. And finally, if you're okay with doing this, please meet me to fill out and sign my supported decision-making agreement. Sincerely, and your name.